for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is Webb City, and joining me we have Carl Francis and Erin Turner. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
I think it's probably been about a year since we actually sat down and visited like this. So looking at Webb City in 2017, how are things going? If people were to come up to you as city administrator and say, how are things in Webb City?
Well, the main thing right now is we're really busy. We have a lot of construction projects going on in our parks. We have road improvements. We have major projects we're undertaking in sewer treatment, wastewater. Our water department is very busy with a 5-year plan that we have to upgrade our utilities. Just a lot of growth.
And Erin, would you echo that as well as far as community development goes?
Absolutely. We've only seen it's onward and upward sort of at where Webb City's concerned.
Well, I know last year we talked about a wide variety of things, and this theme of change and growth seems to be continuing, that you're growing in businesses and residents, I mean, a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we've seen some substantial residential growth, and along with that you must grow your utilities and your infrastructure, so we're working really hard to try and upgrade those areas of the city. And then on top of that, to stay with our motto of, live, work, and play, we have to work on our parks. King Jack Park has been undergoing some major improvements. We have a new splash pad. We have a new 100-foot pavilion that's going in. Really focused this year on some major improvements in our ball fields and our recreation programs. We have a whole nother park being put in on Doherty Street, called Route 66, Cardinal Park. So there's a lot of things going on, and just sometimes you don't want to get stagnant, but sometimes you don't want too many things at the same time, which is kind of what we're experiencing right now.
Well, people who are watching might be wondering, well, how is Webb City paying for all these different projects? And the finances there backing all the projects up?
Well, we've stayed pretty steady on our revenues within the city, but we also have 2 major contributors to the park programs that are going on right now. We have the Dawson Heritage Foundation, who is contributing funds to the King Jack Park improvements, and then we have Cardinal Scale, who has contributed funds to the Route 66 Cardinal Park. So we're very appreciative of those community members who have really stepped up to the plate and helped us. And then our, just our regular revenues have maintained for our utilities to allow us to start with some major improvements. And then the 201 Center Creek Wastewater Board is also contributing to the sewer plant improvements.
Good. We're talking about community support, and you mentioned some companies. It sounds like the businesses in town are continuing to step forward and help out with things.
They really are, and our Chamber of Commerce, the city has a great partnership with our Chamber of Commerce, and they're celebrating their 100th birthday this year. And it was interesting because I think there are 7 members that are still in business that were there from the very beginning, and they have a membership drive, 100 members for our 100th birthday, and I think they're at 66 for June. That's pretty good, a pretty good number. But the businesses are always stepping up, from small business to large business. It really, in our community, it really doesn't matter the business size. It seems like we find so much community support and help from those businesses and individuals as well. It seems like people want to really step up and help their community be better.
So when you look at the economic development side of things and bringing in businesses, and then there's also that supporting existing businesses, you have some existing businesses that are growing and expanding as well.
Absolutely. Many one of the obvious ones is in the Enterprise Zone on Enterprise Avenue, is Don's Cold Storage just off of Hall Street. Right. They're adding another almost 100,000 square feet to their facility. That they've only been open just a few years, and they've already almost doubled the size of their original plant. So we're happy to see that. We're seeing some expansion in for example, Cardinal Scale. They added a 100,000 square foot facility to their location. They're bringing jobs back home. They're bringing plant things that they used to do in other places. They're bringing it back to Webb City.
So from other communities, they're coming back to Joplin.
Correct.
The Joplin region, Webb City.
So we consider ourselves just a partner with them. We work real hard to try and make things go smoothly for them, help them in any way we can. The city council has been very generous in letting the city help with those businesses and help with their expansions. Anything we can do to make it easier for them, we're doing it.
Right. So community development ties into economic development, which I know we've talked in the past, the regional impact of it as well, that nobody stops at their city limit, whether it's shopping or working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What local city administrator has always said to me, and I believe him, he says, what's good for you is good for me. And we work to stick with that. We try to partner with all the area regions and make sure that we all work together to find the fit that is the best.
Now, when someone goes to Webb City, of course, they notice the business side, but you also have a strong retail aspect of your community as well.
We do, and we're hoping that's one of the things that we've been working together on over the last couple years is to create more. You know, business retention is very important to us, but also business attraction. Everybody likes that new store, new place to shop, and we have been working, really focusing on the retail side of things, not only on Madison.
Right.
There's several areas that were homes and now are going to be commercial space opening up, but also our Centennial Park that's city owned and off of our roundabout north of 171 that is slated for retail development as well.
I think we were talking about that about a year ago. At that time you were saying we're
Right.
going to start doing stuff. So now the
We're going
preparation
to.
work is finished.
You know, we're real close. We're real close to what I think will be a major announcement. We are real close to getting some substantial growth started in Centennial Park. We've been working real hard. The council had this vision many years ago. We're just here to get it going. We've been working real hard with some businesses and some community members to really get something in there that is going to be, we'll all be able to see some pride in what we put there. I mean, we just don't want to put anything in there. We just don't want to start it with something that's not attractive and not a destination. So we think we've worked real hard with some local businesses, and very soon we hope to have some announcements to see some real growth start and really create that vision that was started many years ago.
Now, for people who aren't familiar, then describe that area. How many acres are we talking about, and perhaps what size of stores or businesses would there be?
There's over 300 acres total. Buildable acres probably around 100 that are very accessible to East Road. It's the area north of the new roundabout in Webb City. It's called Centennial Park, and some land south of the roundabout also. But the city council purchased a lot of that land several years ago with the hopes of seeing something like this develop, and we're at the point now where I think it's going to pay off, and I think we're going to see some real growth, and I think it's really going to help the community of Webb City.
So the city made an investment in the land, but then you also have to get involved with the utilities, the sewer, the water, everything that takes to support those businesses.
All those partnerships. And one of the exciting things about it is it's right off of 249. And so there's that highway access that, being here in the center of America, we get to brag about that. And so, yeah, we have to work with our partners, the gas companies, the
electric
water.
companies.
We have our own water, but the electric, yeah. And so it is that partnership that is so important for our region, that we have to kind of work together and be all on the same page. And they understand the vision of the mixed use and what we have planned for that. And they've been working very well with us. It's been a great partnership so far. Yeah,
it's a unique situation where you have access to railroad, access to major highways, access to an airport. We believe that it's an area that is ripe and ready to see some real development.
Now, for the viewers, and they're hearing about development and growth they're probably thinking in terms of jobs. Will these be bringing jobs to the community for people?
Absolutely. Anytime you can bring retail development or industrial development, along that comes the jobs. And with that, we also believe that once we get, that the first major one going, that it'll spur other activity. We have available land up and down East Road. We have several different deals out there on the table that are waiting to come to fruition, and we really believe strongly that it's going to happen very soon.
So enterprise area is kind of filling up, and that area is getting full. This gives you a whole new option to work with.
And I think that's one of the reasons the council many years ago saw that happening and just needed that extra space for additional growth in the future.
Right. Well, quality of life is a big thing. I know we talked about it last year, and people looking at any community, but in Webb City you always seem to stress the quality of life beyond this is just where your home is this is where your shop. So.
Right.
So
well, and our slogan is "We love it here," and we've really been touching on that branding of that and tapping into our citizens and finding out what is it that you love about Webb City has been kind of fun and interesting this last year, and that's one of the things. They want to have the nicer parks, they want to have the nicer streets, and they want to have a place to shop in town, in their community, and eat and spend time together. And so it's interesting that's what the kind of growth that we are seeing. It's moving right toward those things that they already love about Webb City. It's just going to make it better and better.
So strengthening some of the things that they're already utilizing.
Absolutely. We've worked real hard to try and to do it ourselves. not have to go out and contract out jobs. We've worked real hard to develop our construction crews within our own public works, our own water crews, our own sewer installation crew, and I think that has saved funds over the years with our revenues that have been fairly steady.
Right.
We've really not seen a lot of growth in revenue, but we have seen a growth in available funds. And the council, I think, has been very cognizant of the fact that, we have those funds available to complete some of these projects now, whereas in the past we didn't.
So as you have more positive news, the funds continue in a positive trend. They kind of go
Correct.
hand in hand.
Correct.
Right. Things are happening.
Absolutely.
Now, the athletic side of things, I know last year we were talking about youth sports like baseball and softball and so forth. Take off well?
Well, the city is, we've taken over the management of the recreation programs within King Jack Park. That has come with its trials and tribulations. We're working really hard to bring those fields up to a level in which we can all be proud. The programs, we have a recreation coordinator, Molly Garst, hired, and she is working with all the different teams in the Little League, baseball, softball, soccer. It's a challenge. I'll be the first to admit it has been probably more of a challenge than any of us expected.
A lot more management involved in trying to do that.
Absolutely. And one thing I tell them in every staff meeting that you can't make everybody happy. Don't even try. Just do what's right. Do what you think is right, because believe me, if you do something that's wrong, you're going to hear about it. So I don't have no problem with that. I think that people, if they have a legitimate complaint, they bring it forward. But sometimes the complaints, they begin to weigh on you, and we've learned that we're not perfect, and we can't do everything overnight. Right. But we're working really hard to make it a good program, one that everybody can be proud of. We've had a lot of compliments about the fields this year and the condition of the fields, and I will be the first to admit we've put a lot of money into them. The council has authorized us to do what we need to do, and they have really been very supportive and of city staff and very supportive of what we're doing there.
Now, you mentioned splash pad earlier, and we kind of flew through that. People might have caught that at the beginning. Let's explain what that involves, because that's an aspect of recreation as well.
Well, splash pad is very exciting. To me, I think is great. To any parent or babysitter or someone who has young kids. And basically, it's going to be a water attraction in King Jack Park that is going to be free. There will be set hours of when it will be open, but basically it kind of shoots water up, pours water, that sort of thing. And so people, citizens, not just of Webb City, but
anybody from the region,
coming into King Jack Park can come in and spend some time on the splash pad. And along with that is a caboose being built by our school students, but it's going to have a slide in it and kind of a photo op place. The kids can play and crawl in it, and then we've got new pavilions going out there. The Dawson Heritage Foundation has provided has made it possible for us to be able to do that and provide that for our community.
Yeah, this has been a project that, and I know I'll get in trouble for saying this, but Jim Dawson has really poured everything into it. I mean, he's gone way above and beyond. We have a new engine drive system, and for lack of a better term than I know of, that's what it is for our trolley. That's going to be circling the park during all these festivities and activities every year. He's been behind the push to get this done. He has really worked on this caboose. I have to admit, when I first heard about it, I thought it was just going to be like a one-dimensional picture type thing. No, it's a real caboose.
So it's going to have an inside.
Oh, it's a caboose.
Life-size caboose.
Yes.
When I took a look at that, he brought me pictures of it, and I said, I thought you were just like, no, it's a real caboose. No, it's a real caboose.
The kids are going to like playing that.
These kids have built a real caboose. It is pretty awesome. And I was there this morning talking with our public works director, going over where we're going to be placing all this stuff. But the 100-foot pavilion is nearly done. They're getting ready to pour concrete today. So we hope, and I'll probably get in trouble for this, but we hope 4th of July will be our opening date to turn that splash pad on and let the kids enjoy it. We're real close.
One of the fun things about the splash pad, we wanted to stick with kind of our heritage and the mining and then the trolley sort of thing. And so the splash pad, Mr. Dawson also has been instrumental in working with Webb Corps, and they've built this very large bucket that is conducive sort of to like mining. It'll
like the miner's bucket?
Yes, and it's going to dump the water. As it fills, it will dump the water onto the children. So it'll be really neat. And it was all built, fabricated right there in Webb City at Webb Corps. So very exciting.
I anticipate a lot of visitors to come see that when it opens.
It's been a lot of trials and tribulations this entire process, but it is going to be something I think that the entire city can be proud of, and we really want to thank not just Webb Corps, the Dawson Heritage Foundation, Cardinal Scale, all members of the community that have helped in this. There's been people, some of these railroad signage, the company that's working on that. There's a company that does the concrete that's been helping us out, things that they weren't paid to do. But we really appreciate it, and I think it's just been a good group effort. Is it done on time? No.
But most projects are a challenge, right?
It just seems like a trial after trial.
Well,
rain.
weather's probably caused problems this year with all the rain we've had in the ground.
We've had, 300-year floods in the last year?
Right.
One of the exciting things is when you think about, we feel like one of the resources we have untapped is our tourism side of things. And yes, of course, we love it here in Webb City, and that's why we stay and play and work and shop there. But we feel like one of those major untapped resources is the tourism side of that. And I feel like this splash pad, and of course our farmers market is always a draw. But then with Route 66 getting ready to come into its centennial and things like that, we are blessed enough to have that go right through town. And so our historic downtown has had some improvements and local investors, and there's going to be some big changes down retail going down into our downtown. And so it's just really exciting to be able to see all these things that will be great for our citizens, but will also sort of tap into that tourism resource that we would love to be able to give people a reason to stop when they're passing through on Route 66.
Well, I know in summertime, as we're recording this program, you see a lot of people who travel the historic route, and they stop and they want to take pictures in the towns as they go through. And you've already started some of those steps for identifying Webb City on Route 66. Still have cruise nights and places where people can bring out their classic cars. And things like that.
Absolutely. The second Saturday of every month, April through September. April kicks off our big festival. We have our Spring Downtown Festival, and then that kicks off the cruise night. And then there will be a huge super cruise. I think they're calling it Hot Rod Mania. Will be the final one of the season, second Saturday in September. And so there will be tons of prizes.
All year long, you can see those cars and participate with that. So downtown is an area we've discussed in the past of bringing it back to life or giving it its new life and the buildings that have been there.
Yeah, we've worked real hard with a lot of property owners. We've actually acquired some of the buildings. The city has worked real hard to help them in any way we can to get the buildings up to code, get them occupied, get them useful, get them back into the business community. We have some deals on the table right now with some local investors where they'll be taking ownership of a couple of the buildings downtown and doing some remodeling work, actually putting in some living quarters upstairs and retail businesses downstairs.
So kind of a loft above retail type development.
We just want to see downtown continue to thrive along with every place in town. The residential building is thriving. Retail sales. It's not. I won't really say that it's thriving, but we're improving it. We're working hard to keep what we have and help those that are there now and attract new. Industrial. We have been working with some landowners that own possible industrial property to begin some other industrial things other than what we have now. And then we also work with people like Don's Cold Storage who are in our current industrial areas that, we work real hard with him. I think Don, he's became a friend of mine that owns Don's Cold Storage. I know him very well. I think he would be the first to tell you that Webb City works with businesses in ways that other cities don't.
They'll work things out for you, helping
Absolutely.
out along those lines. You mentioned residential, and as anyone who drives into the city, they say new neighborhoods popping up on what used to be fields and so
Correct.
forth. Is there a challenge for the city to keep track of those, or the process of who's putting what where?
Big challenge. Infrastructure, probably our wastewater challenge has been there all along. Everybody knows that the city of Webb City has been under a zinc issue type abatement order that we have to take care of a zinc problem. That zinc problem has been there long before we were, but it's all a result of past mining and using zinc-laden chat to lay the sewer lines back in the day. But we're working real hard with DNR, EPA. We actually we've been featured in a couple of magazines with the method in which we're trying to solve these problems. We're putting a wetland behind the sewer treatment plant, putting vegetation in there that will help absorb the zinc that can be harvested down the road. We're putting in a composting plant to keep us from having to take our sludge and put it in a hazardous waste landfill. We'll be able to apply it as topsoil. A lot of innovative thinking, a lot of innovative ideas have gone into this. The EPA's been out in the forefront helping us. The Department of Natural Resources has been really good. you know, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and I'm going to get some trouble because I'm not going to name
There's
them
a lot
all.
of organizations
There
involved.
are, you know, senators' offices, House of Representatives, our representatives here in town, you know, have really helped us all along the way to do some of this because it's, you know, it's not been done before. This is a new uncharted
kind
territory.
of the test area to see if this will
Correct.
work elsewhere.
Yeah, this is an uncharted program, really. I mean, we actually had to hire the engineers to write the rules for what we're doing, and then DNR has adopted those rules and gave them back to us and said, okay, now you got to follow these rules. Kind of like, yeah, we know, we wrote them.
Yeah, but you had to get them approved to come back.
It's you know, it's been about a 5-year process, and I think our final public hearing is scheduled for next month. Once that happens, we can actually move to the construction and permitting phase. The permits are almost totally approved, but we can begin moving to the construction phase. By next summer, you'll see some major improvements going in. And I know, you know, it's boring to a lot of people, you know, sewer treatment.
People say, what they don't see.
They never worry about it until they flush their toilet.
toilet.
Flush your toilet and it don't work, then you have a problem with it. But we're going to see some really major, I think, steps being taken in the next year or two. We've been saying that for several years, but it's been a 5-year process of getting all this, you know, like I say, this has not been done.
And people don't realize that time that's involved for anything involving other areas of government or bureaucracy and so forth.
You know, we owe a big debt of gratitude to the EPA and the land reclamation projects that they've been doing. You know, they helped us with the construction of the wetland, because they had to move dirt, they had to encapsulate it, so we gave them a plan, say, hey, encapsulate it this way, and we'll make a wetland. You know, so it's kind of been a, you know, DNR. You know, we're asking for different permitting processes that just haven't been done before, and they're, you know, yeah, it's taken a long time and a lot of engineering work and a lot of begging and pleading, but I think we're right there. You know, we're right on the edge of getting something major accomplished.
And of course, the problems that led up to that took many years to develop, so it took many years on the other end to solve.
Nobody in Webb City today created those problems.
Right.
These are problems that we inherited. We are working real hard. You know, we don't want to stick our head in the sand, act like it's not there, and just say, you know, hey, what are you going to do? That's not the way to answer those kinds of problems. The answer, I think, is what we're doing. We're working hard to fix them. The council is approving expenditures after expenditures to make this happen. I'm really appreciative of the cooperation from them. It's not like, you know, we're not fighting with anybody. You know, we're not going to court or doing anything like that. We're working hard to fix the problem.
And people wanting to work together along those lines. Now, Erin, you mentioned earlier community development and community involvement. A lot of these projects you've mentioned probably take a lot of volunteers or people just stepping forward to get involved. When you do
Really,
things.
that's absolutely right. We can't do it by ourselves. And we've had churches step up and do a volunteer day. We had someone painting the inside of the event center, and it actually rained that day, but they were going to help paint the rodeo building out at King Jack Park. And so, you know, we've got professional volunteers, and then we've got personal people who have stepped forward and said they want to come and help clean up the downtown area and things like that. And so, yes, it really does take a village, kind of, you know, how that works. And, you know, I don't think I speak for myself when I say that the staff really appreciates, we are really blessed with having a mayor and a council that are so progressive. They aren't those people that wait for something to happen. It's sort of, they share that vision, and then they want what's best for the community, and so they kind of go for it, go out and get it, or what can we do to do something different. They want to, you know, kind of be cutting edge as much as possible. So we are blessed to be able to have that direction from them to kind of just go out there and take it in hand, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to worry about everything you do in case you make a mistake. You know, it can be real easy to never make a mistake. Just don't ever do anything.
Don't do anything. So doing those things. Well, Carl, speaking of doing things, I know last year you had 2 hats to wear. You're no longer the police chief, so you've had a chance to focus on city business now.
I have given up the law enforcement side of my career. We have hired Chief Donald Melton. Now he was my assistant chief there at the police department. He's taken over the helm of the police department. I'm focusing totally on city administration, all these projects we just talked about. You know, it's changed my life a little bit, but really my job, not really. Just just not being a partnership with the law enforcement community like I have been for so many years. I miss that part of my job, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But I'm excited about the challenges of the future for Webb City and see what we can get done in the remainder of my career. I think there's a lot of projects out there that the city of Webb City in the past probably thought they couldn't afford to do, or just didn't think they could do, that we are now doing. I mean, we're moving things forward, and I really think it'll be for the betterment for the entire community.
So there's more goals down the line.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really exciting to see Chief Melton taking the helm and doing things, and and with Chief Roten, their emergency management side of things, they've really kind of taken that in hand and kind of made that like a feel-good fun, that PR side of things has been really great, and it's been really interesting and fun to see Chief Melton step forward and kind of own that now. So
I imagine as the city has grown, that also increases attention or pressure perhaps sometimes on police and fire.
Calls for service to the police department, are still pretty high. We'd be remiss not to mention the fire department and what the fire department personnel has done for the city of Webb City in the last several years. They have really became active community members, volunteers. I mean, they do everything from build playgrounds at daycares. They go in and paint. They
Habitat for Humanity. They
so they're seen in the community.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Sometimes they're the very face of Webb City, and so the chief has really taken that and run with it. It's been great. I mean, they'll show up at school. They'll come to the park, or we had the Mayor's Prayer Day of Prayer.
Right.
They brought the fire truck out with the flag. They were out helping set up the stage. I mean, really, they will do anything. They helped me at the festival when we were setting up and doing all that. There was the fire department, and here, what do we need to carry? We'll carry a picnic table.
So they're committed to the future.
They really are.
That's been one of my goals from day one, is to get everybody working together. Forget the idea that we're one department, you're one department. I don't care what department you work for. I think that the fire department guys and the police department, they get out there and, fire department personnel installs like the radios and stuff in our police cars now. They do all the cage work, the decals. They even have a vinyl cutting machine that the city council allowed us to purchase to do our vinyl signage and everything, where we don't have to pay for that anymore outside. It's just those types of activities. We have police officers that work on computers that do IT work now that has not been done before. We have, just everything, armors, people that work on weapons and within the department where we don't have to go outside and do that anymore. Radar certificate. I could go on all day.
So there's a lot of specialties that are being handled within
That's just what we've been pushing. Take care of ourselves, save some funds. Maybe down the road it'll pay off and we'll be able to do something that we thought we couldn't done before. And all the departments, Public Works, they're the same way. And I know I'm going to miss one and get in trouble, but they're all the same way. Parks Department, they push to go out and help. You can't drive through King Jack Park without seeing a street water somebody in there helping out. Public Works people help in the parks all the time. It's a street's a street. Just because it's in a park doesn't matter. That's kind of my deal. Sewer department, they installed all the sewer lines to the new bathrooms that are going in by the 100-foot pavilion. So, it's just it's a team effort. It's not just it's not just me. It's not just Erin. It's not just the mayor and the council. You got to get everybody involved. Everybody agreeing to the same thing.
Right. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for giving this update today, and for people who are interested in what's happening, I know there's ways to get involved. Facebook, you have a website, just even picking up the phone and calling City Hall.
Absolutely.
And we're there.
We're there to find out what's happening. Well, thank you, Carl, and thank you, Erin, for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank the viewers for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. I hope you can join us again next week at the same time on this station. We'll see you then.